beautiful, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this video where I am gonna do something that I have been thinking about since this whole Y2K trend came back, because I feel like we're all glorifying what the Y2K was, but it was an atrocious time. So I'm actually gonna recreate one of my party makeup looks, something that I wore, well, several times a week, let's be honest, because I was in my late teens, early 20s, in the early 2000s. So I'm just gonna recreate one of the looks that I used to do, not with the makeup that I had, because most of those things have been discontinued for good reason. For good reason, but I'm just gonna show you how off no, how peculiar we did our makeup back then. So yeah, let's get on with the show. And if you haven't been here before, hello, my name is Angie. I am such a lover of beauty makeup. I love everything beauty makeup related, and I have been loving makeup and beauty since early teens. So I'm just gonna show you what I did back then. But if you want to see some more makeup videos, don't forget to subscribe because I upload 5 videos a week. This video is obviously all for shits and giggles. This is gonna be me recreating one of the party looks that I did in the early 2000s. I turned 16 in the year 2000, and in Sweden the legal drinking age is 18, and I actually did move away from home when I was 16. So I will say that this is the makeup that I did in my early 20s, so a little bit more into the 2000s. I started experimenting with black eyeshadow. And yeah, let me zoom in a little bit and let's get started. I did wear this fluffy top. It is extremely warm though, so I don't know what I was thinking. I'm already sweating on my stomach, but I'll do it for the art. I'm actually gonna do this in reverse order because I've always done foundation and concealer. I've always done that first, and I did use concealer and foundation when I was younger as well, when I was going like out and about partying. This was like a nightclub look, which is not what I'm doing today, obviously. Should I have brushed my hair instead of just putting it up in a ponytail? Maybe. It's too late for that now. Too late for that now. But what I wanted to say is that today I'm actually gonna do my eyes first, for the simple reason that I remember having a lot of fallout with the black eyeshadow, and even though I did that, and even though I remember that, I never started with eyeshadow because I always had like a great, I don't want to talk about it. I've always loved makeup though. As my eyeshadow base, I always used a cream highlighter. So it was something like this. This is a better formula than what I used back then, because what I used back then, this is Showtime, a Super Shock Chic from Colourpop. What I used back then was a what was I thinking? Was a straight up like tacky, sticky. But yeah, I used a cream highlighter as an eyeshadow base, and I used it all the way on my lid, all the way up to my brow bone. And I do remember having these that were like iridescent. I had one that was blue iridescent, and I had one that was pink iridescent. Why I put this shimmery on to then cover it with black eyeshadow?
It's one of the big mysteries of this century. Nobody knows.
But yeah, this is what I did. This is what I did. This is what I did. And then we're gonna do black eyeshadow. I'm actually gonna use one of the black eyeshadows from this color palette by Linda Hallberg. Linda Hallberg was actually she was the biggest beauty blogger at that time in Sweden. I bet she still is. And all of my inspiration came from her, if we're gonna be honest. I am gonna try and make this as good as possible though. I'm gonna try and make this as good as possible. I'm not gonna try and butcher it. But yeah, I went in with a black eyeshadow. And this, I want to say that it gets better, but it's really just downhills from here. It's really just downhills from here. And I put black eyeshadow all over my lid and into my crease. I can't believe anyone would date me back then. I guess everyone was out of their mind in the early 2000s, but yeah, all over my lid. And I had one eyeshadow brush. It was fairly similar to this one, maybe a little bit more flat. And that's what I packed it on with. And then I blended on the edges. No additional color. No. Only black. This is the only eyeshadow I used for my party makeup. Sweet memories. I remember bringing black eyeshadow, this specific brush that I used, and the cream highlighter, and the thing that I'm gonna put on top, plus false lashes, because I started using false lashes when I was 16. So I remember taking that to my job, because I used to work in a restaurant turned into a nightclub. And the days that I didn't work as a bartender, I would just go up in the changing room after my shift was over. I would just blot a little bit with blotting paper. I used to have a lot of blotting paper. I would just blot a little bit. I would do this eye look. I would put on false lashes and some lip gloss, and I would just go back down again and the party would start. Good times. But yeah, I would just put a little bit in my crease too, because I remember that I did put it in my crease, and then I just blend it out and you have this like shimmery brow bone situation. Wow. I'm gonna try and make this as pretty as possible though. I'm gonna make it my best, because I do feel that even though obviously I was fearless back then, I think that my skills have definitely improved with time. Okay, so now that we have achieved this level of absolute perfection, I used to go over this with a loose pigment. Yes, back in the days, I used to have loose pigments. This isn't the exact one I had, but I remember that what I put on top of this was kind of a pinky lavender shimmery thing. So I think that this is like the closest one that I have now. I used the same brush, and I just covered the black in this. And this is where I got all the fallout, and yeah, this is why I'm actually gonna do my eyes first, because this is what I did. Oh boy, and I did nothing on my under eyes, did not do an inner corner highlight. This is it. Okay, so now that this is a black, pink, sparkly pile of burning garbage, I'm just gonna see if I can wipe off a little bit that's under my eyes. Oh boy, I am sparkly. I also had a foundation brush, one of these. This is the one I used. I used to use Maybelline foundations. I don't have a Maybelline foundation. I'm just gonna use a new one. But this is the Makeup Forever, the new HD Skin. I love this foundation, so at least I'm doing that right. So I guess like a squirt on each side. And, oh my god, I can't believe that this is the kind of foundation brush I used to use. Okay. Let's all say a prayer, shall we? Why did I use a brush like this? This was before sponges, people. This was before sponges. Okay, that was a little rough. I will also say, back in the days, it was really hard to find a foundation that had a neutral or a golden undertone. I was living in Sweden back then, and for me, all the foundations had a pink undertone. I'm just using some concealer now to cover up some things that needs to be covered up. But like, I always had the wrong shade when I was living in Sweden. I almost always had something that was just too pink. This is not how I used to do my concealer back then. I used to have one of those stick concealers, you know, that looked like a lipstick, and I only did it under my eyes, and it always creased and looked absolutely atrocious. There is a reason why those sticks are very few and like far between nowadays, because they're not that good. They're honestly not that good. But I used one of those creams and I just did it with my finger, and that was it. But that never looked good on me, and I don't own a single cream concealer like that today. So I'm just gonna do concealer a little bit to cover up some things that needed to be covered up. But I did used to do concealer. But yeah, not this kind of concealer. It doesn't look horrible though. The shade match is better today than it was back then, because 18-year-old Angie couldn't shade match to save her life. I did use some powder as well back then, although I am fairly sure that the powders that I used were like foundation powders. I'm pretty sure that I used that, and I just put it all over my face, all over like the foundation and the concealer and everything. Am I in focus? So I thought, why don't we just set this entire thing with some powder, because that is what I would have done, and I probably would have had a lighter face than my body, because I always ended up buying a too light foundation with a pink undertone, because that was what was offered in Sweden back then. So let's emulate that as well, shall we? Oh, and bronzer, overrated. Highlighter, don't know her. So we didn't do that. We skipped all of that, and instead what I wore, this, I bought a red cream blush from Lancome, and I panned it. Absolutely used it up. And it was like this, maybe even more like a raspberry pink. And I used to use that with a brush. Even though it was a cream blush, I was a rebel. And I used to put that on because I was like,
oh, it's so pretty when you're having like the red cheek.
Who dated me? Who dated me? I have questions. Well, yeah, red blush. That was my setup. Oh my god, I need to even this out. I know I used to love the red blush and that I was crazy about it back then. Why didn't my friends stop me? Why weren't they like, Halloween's early this year? Like, why didn't anyone be like, hun, let's not look like this, shall we? Okay, let's do brows, because this is the thickest my brows have ever been. This is my natural brows. I don't pluck my brows. This is it. But back then, I had even thinner brows back then. Like, this is my brows grown out. But I've always had thin brows. But you know what I used to do? I used to have a pen like this. It was blonde. And this is what I did. I want a snack. And my brows are actually lacking some hair in here, and instead of filling that out, I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. It's okay that my brows are starting halfway through my eyes. That's okay. It's supposed to look like this. It's supposed to look like this. I did use white in my waterline. Obviously, I didn't put either mascara or eyeshadow down there, but apparently a white eyeliner, that balances it all out. Love that for me. And I also used to do black liner back then. I haven't done liner in such a long time, but I used to do wing eyeliner for years before I came on YouTube. And I think I am better at it now though than I was back in the early 2000s. Because I do remember thinking that when you had a black liner, it was a lot easier to put on your lashes, because I love lashes, and I've loved lashes for much longer than I've been on YouTube. Okay, so while the glue on my lashes is drying a little bit, I'm gonna use a lip liner. This is actually the first time I'm using the Rouge Gel Lip Liner by Sephora brand. You did recommend me to try this one, so I bought one during the Sephora sale. I did do a late order. I also bought this one. I'm so excited. I bought one of the Forever Mood candles. This is the new one in Burning Bridges, and it's pineapple. And it smells wonderful. Also, let me show you the candle. I'm sidetracking. I'm taking a step out of Y2K and I'm coming back to real world. But look at this candle. Is it gonna look so good in the back with the yellow? I have decided that yellow, listen, I love the rainbow, I do, but I think yellow is my favorite color. But I'm gonna use a lip liner. I did use a lip liner as well back then, but I think I'm better with a lip liner now than I was back then. But I did use a lip liner, and I did use it mainly because I heard that a lip liner will prevent your lip gloss from fading out or like traveling all over your face. This is the main reason why I used a lip liner, because I was very into lip glosses back then. It was my thing. I don't know what's worse, these eyebrows or my sad excuse for a hair that I like surely needed to wash today but was way too lazy for. So yeah, I mean, the eye look is looking a lot better today than it did back then, and it's not even looking good today. So you can just imagine what it looked like back then. I brought out one of these ColourPop So Juicy lip glosses. I was so on the Juicy Tubes like train from the ones from Lancome. It's not even funny. Like, I was grabbing on to that train for dear life. I went through at least 2 of the Liché lip glosses, which was that like cool tone sparkly pink. So I brought out this. This is actually from the Y2K collection from Colourpop, and this is the one in the sparkling like lavender. This one is in bonus track. I love the minty scent of these. I would have loved a lavender like this back then. Oh wow. So yeah, don't mind the hair. I couldn't be bothered fixing it. If I film something else today, I promise I'll do something with it. But I thought that this makeup look does not deserve well put together hair. Yeah, this is, I mean, okay, if we're gonna be honest here, the red blush, I can't believe I did that for so years. Years. I did it for years. The brows, years. But it's like, that was popular then, the brows. I could have used a little bronzer. I wish the blush was a little shimmery. The lips aren't bad. Like, this is back in style. The lips I had then, they're popular now. I'm fine with that. I am happy that I used lashes back then because it does save the look a little bit. I will say that this look could have benefited. Look at that icy brown boy. She's like, bam! Icy. This look could have benefited from a couple of more shadows, but I'm gonna be honest with you. It's, besides the brows, it's not atrocious, the blushes, okay. She has issues. She has a couple of things that she needs to work through, but it's not the worst Y2K makeup I've ever seen. This is what I did back then. This is what I did. The cream highlighter with the black eyeshadow with the shimmer all the way over. This is what I did. This was my party makeup back then. What did you have? If you are also in my age bracket, what did you wear when you went out clubbing? In like your late teens, early 20s, what did you do? Because this was very much a go-to look for me. This was very much a go-to look for me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and your opinions down below. Does this resemble what you used to wear? I mean, back in the 90s, I had a bit of different makeup because like I said, back in the 90s, like late 90s, I was like in my teens. I had different makeup. That was also a choice. If would you like to see that, please let me know because I could definitely do that as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to see some more updated makeup routines, and I will see you again tomorrow for a new video. Bye.